Hey guys, what's going on? So this is the review for the final two episodes of Game of Thrones Season 8 because I didn't review last week's one because, well, I'm just pretty lazy. I would say that this whole season has probably been the weakest out of all the seasons within the entire series. Everything just felt like it was crushed and crammed in to only a couple of episodes.
Let's move on to Star Wars now. Let's just like, oh fuck, I don't know. Let's just make Bran King. Fuck it.
Everything was brilliant. Like the acting was brilliant, the filmmaker is brilliant, everything was fantastic. Production was, you know, excellent, but just the writing really let it down. And I feel kind of bad because all of these actors had to defend this season from the onslaught of hate this season's getting online. And there's this petition circulating with like over 1 million signatures about people asking them to remake the 8th season. And they're not going to fucking remake it. They took 2 years for them just to shoot those 6 episodes, like make those 6 episodes. They're not going to. That's just so dumb. Like they're not going to remake it. Or what's the? I don't even get the point of that. It's just so stupid. It's just anyway. Let's start off with episode 5. So start off, they kill Varys, and Varys just makes just the dumbest decisions. It was just so unlike his character. Him and Littlefinger were the two smartest characters, arguably in the whole series. And they just, before they met their demise, they make the dumbest decisions. He goes up to Jon and is like,
Oh yeah, look, John, mate. I think you would be a much better leader than Dany. So yeah, can you just go on the Iron Throne, thanks? I don't want it. And all our guards are around. And what you ask me to do is treason. Yeah, but Dany's cool. She won't burn me, eh?
Varys would never make those decisions. He's a lot smarter than that, but they just seem to have dumbed him down so much just so they could just find a way to kill him off. I just thought that was so silly and stupid, and a disservice to that character who was just so ahead of all the other players in the game. The battle at King's Landing was decent. It was actually pretty decent. I really enjoyed the spectacles, some great fighting sequences. But then Dany just sort of goes Anakin Skywalker mode. And just on a flip of a dime, just ends up murdering all these innocent civilians. And I get it. I could see. I was fine with the decision of her murdering innocent civilians. I got that because she's, going to become the Mad Queen. But the way they go about it, instead of make it very gradual, it's just like, oh no, I've heard bells now. I gotta go kill people. And then in the next episode, she goes on, we're gonna make a brand new world, and we're gonna go to all the other kingdoms, and it needed to be so much more gradual. And I think it was just one of those things where they just tried to cram everything. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna actually flip the switch now. Let's flip the switch now and make it so she's just gone crazy and gonna burn everyone alive. Cersei and Jaime's death was dumb, getting crushed to death by, bricks. It just met that prophecy, with one of her brothers choking her to death, just meant jack shit. So that's prophecy in season 3. But besides the death of all her kids, that prophecy meant jack shit. She just dies because of a bunch of bricks landed on her. Just. And then Jaime, his fight with Euron was just dumb. Like, Euron just happens to be swimming past the shoreline of the entrance where Jaime's going up at that particular moment, at that particular time. It just did not seem likely at all. It was just... My favourite part of this whole episode was Glee Cane Bowl. The Mountain versus the Hound was by far my favourite part of this whole episode, and it was fantastic. It was just brilliant to watch. You know, choreographed, just everything about that scene I love. But then there's that dumb part when the Hound knocks off the Mountain's helmet and he just looks like that end boss in Resident Evil 2. And Arya should probably have thrown him a rocket launcher as well, just to finish him off. But that I love that sequence. And then the sequence afterwards where Arya's running through the city, and it's just everything's just going haywire because of Drogon just burning everything, and that was fantastic as well. Some of the plot holes and stuff. Like there's the part when Cersei's actually scared for her life, and you're like, oh, this is interesting because she's got a I don't give a fuck attitude throughout the whole thing, where I'm just doing what I want, fuck all of you, like. And then she gets scared, and this is one of the first times you see her scared, but it just ends in like 30 seconds because the bricks fall on her, and she's dead. That's it, done. I would have preferred Jaime just to kill her, or even Arya, or Arya using Jaime's face. I mean, the faceless men thing didn't even come to this season. Like, it's just like, okay, nah, it's back in season 6 and 7, but we don't want to do anything with it anymore. It's just, yeah, nah. That whole thing's just wasted, useless. The final episode was pretty much just wrapping things up. Not heaps happened. I mean, of course, Dany died. Jon killed Dany. That was very sort of anticlimactic. I didn't even know he killed Dany. It's just like they're embracing or whatever, and then the next minute she's just got a knife in her, and then she's dying, and then she's dead. And you're just like, okay, that was probably not as dramatic as it should have been. And then Drogon burns the Iron Throne, takes Dany's corpse, and flies off to Never Never Land. And yeah, I mean, I guess he thought that, yeah, Jon's a Targaryen. I'm not going to burn him alive, I guess. And so because of that, Jon's thrown in prison. You would think that the Unsullied would have killed him, but apparently they're like, nah, you're alright. You just killed our leader that we've followed for, you know, however many years, 6 years or some shit. So we're not going to kill you. We're just going to throw you in prison and just try and decide what to do from there. And then they try and decide on a king. They free Tyrion. And they all end up going with Bran. And Bran, I was just like, the guy said 2 sentences throughout the whole fucking season. Why would you choose Bran? The only reason why you're choosing Bran is because he can tell the future and the past, and he can make decent decisions that way. But the guys just doesn't say anything. Like, it's sort of like they couldn't find a better option. And I feel kind of a bit sorry for the actors, because it's not their fault, and it's not even bad. Technically and filmmaking wise, it's not even bad. It's just that there's so many plot holes in the writing, and it's just so crunched into...
Crunch, crunch, munchy, munchy, crunch.
Just only a few episodes, all these plot points that could have taken over a season. So at the end, Bran's made king, Sansa's made Warden of the North, which I was happy with. I thought that was a good thing. I would have even been fine with her being, queen or whatever of the throne, or whatever you want to call it. Arya goes west, which I actually thought was a good ending for her. A suitable ending, because she always sort of went on about what's west of Westeros throughout the series. That was good. And then Jon goes back to where the wildlings are at the Night's Watch, and sort of walks through the woods where the first Night's Watchmen were attacked in the very first scene in the very first episode of the whole series, which was a fitting ending, I thought. But there's parts of it I liked, and there's just parts of it I just thought were so dumb and so stupid. There's just so many parts I just felt wasted and just dead ends, and they just didn't know how to wrap it up. Overall, the whole series I really enjoyed, especially the first, 6, 7-ish seasons. I mean, the first 4 seasons were the best. They were just like the epitome of just mwah. So I always will love those seasons. 5 and 6 were still really, really good. There's a couple parts I was just like, okay, it's just boring. I don't really give a shit about this. And then season 7 was just really rushed. Again, parts I liked, and then parts I was like, just rushed and dumb. And then same with season 8. So it's just slowly going downhill the less source material they're using. But overall, look, it was enjoyable. It just wasn't great. I didn't hate it as much as everyone else seems to, or as much as the internet seems to hate it. It could have been better. It could have been done much better. But I didn't hate it. It was just, It was just okay. We've just got to see how the books turn out now in terms of their ending. I don't know if I'm going to watch the whole series again. Because if they ended it off really, really well, they ended it off really strongly, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'd probably rewatch the whole series again. But because they had that ending, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to waste my time rewatching the whole entire series, and then I get to season 8 and I'm just like, it was good, just not great. It was just very sort of mediocre. But that's all I've got to say. That wraps it up for all my Game of Thrones reviews. I'm going to move on to other stuff, other reviews of movies, and I don't know what show I'm going to do next because I've watched a lot of shows. But I'll see where we go, and thanks for watching.